Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a little chilly out. It's a little chilly out that we have Jennifer in Michigan. It's always chilly. No, it's not. It's really nice in July from July 1st to the 15th, and then it's fall. It looks like the leaves are still green over there. She's on her walk. Robin, we know down in Key West. Don't even say it, Robin. Don't even start with us down there. Well, good morning, everybody. What up, Chad? Good morning, Bethany. John Hart. John Hart, we got a special one here today. And this one's even more special because I'm gonna get into the story here in a little bit on our personal. There's always like what you guys hear, and then there's like the behind the scenes on what takes place and everything that happens. And so and you know me, Michelle. It's been a while since I've been on the mic all week, all. I've been traveling and I have not, so I missed the microphone. I miss talking to you all. So good morning to everybody. Let's get our show started here this morning. My name is Coach Brock Zevan, life coach, business coach, real estate coach, and a DAD. It is a DAD weekend for me going up to the mountains up towards Western North Carolina. What a different world the year makes with the Hurricane Helene a year ago. That just happened within probably 2 weeks. I was going up with chainsaws. And this week I'm blessed and fortunate going up my kiddos. And we're just gonna have some kind of quiet time, some relaxed time. And I said, kids, do you guys want to do anything? Like, well, we're up there, like, Dad, we just want to hang out. We just want to. They have like, there's like pool table and ping pong table at this Airbnb, and they're like, we just, of course, got to have a hot tub because that's like the kids swimming. So excited to have that. But today's guest, John Hart. Shout out to John Hart. He was the one that connected us with Jana here, and I was reading. Jan and I, we've been like, we talked this morning for probably like 10 minutes. We're both high D's, and everything you possibly can say in 10 minutes, we said it. And everything that we said was just like such a connection. It was like parallel lines going together at the same pace, the same speed, the same synergy. And then she's like, do you know anything about me? And I said, to be honest with you, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not. I said, I've been nonstop with kids and running around. And so I'm reading her resume. I'm reading her bio all as I'm waiting and the countdown comes on. And this is how God works. Okay. This is true alignment to its T. She's from the greater Nashville area, commercial real estate. I'm like reading all this stuff about her in Nashville and what she does as speaker and everything, like such an amazing person. I'm like, I was just in Nashville. I was in Nashville 2 days ago. I was there all day. And we have this big, huge success summit that we're doing for real estate agents. And now I'm like, she's a commercial agent. She's a badass woman. Excuse my language, everybody, but I just love strong, powerful women who are just dominant in their field and they just pour it into other people and they share it and they show it. And she's like, she gives speeches. She's on in the association, nonprofits, right, Michelle? There's nonprofits right here. And she soaks up as much education as she can. And she doesn't even know that I've been in the school industry, a teacher for 12 years, and education is such a huge, important ingredient to me. So, like, her and I were like ping ponging back and forth. And she's been on several podcasts, many stages. And we talked for 10 minutes. I said, this is going to be amazing because when you align two people up who share the gift that God wants us to share with you all today, this message is for somebody in some capacity, in some way. So, with that being said, Jada, shout out to you, brother. I opened up my Facebook this morning and Jada's like already running. It was like 5 something in the morning. I was like, damn, Jada, like make me feel bad. Like I got to do something quick to catch up. So shout out to you, brother. So guys, give me some fives, give me some hearts, give me some warm welcome for Miss Jana Truman. Jana Truman. Sorry. I don't know why I keep saying Jana. There's no E, Brock. Jana Truman. Good morning, Jana. How are you?
Good morning, Brock. It's so great to be here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks. Shout out again to John Hart. He is um, one of my favorite people. So obviously big alignment there. So thank you. Welcome.
Yes, and thank you for getting I know that's Central Time. I was on it on Tuesday, got an hour early, so thank you for being with us a little early this morning. And I was telling her, I said, "Yeah, I'm running here. I'm doing this," and she's like, "Oh yeah, I get it." She's like, "I got to put this huge multi-million dollar proposal together. I'm supposed to be in a wedding. I got this going on." I was just like, "Oh, I hear you." We're like, we don't let 1 minute get past us. It's just like we absorb every minute of the 24 hours. I love it. And that's how we're wired. And that's what we're going to hear about. So give us a little bit of that 10,000 foot overview of who you are. Obviously, I'm learning about you as I'm reading this. John Hart knows about you, but all of us on here don't know. And for those that are watching the recording later, tell us a little bit about you so we can get an understanding of who you are as a person.
Thank you. So you and I actually do have a lot in common, and I'll even say, even from our philosophies of pouring into other people, not only our clients, but also the real estate agents in our circle, etc. We do, my husband and I own three businesses. We own a commercial real estate brokerage, a business brokerage. We help people buy and sell businesses, and we own a commercial property management company. And so
Mm.
we help people just like you do help people, Brock, to create generational wealth. So how that works in my world is when someone wants to sell their business, in today's world, only 90% of the people who have businesses that are actually sellable, their children don't want the business, but they want to have income. So they actually, when they transition out of their business, we help them take some of that money, invest it in commercial real estate so that they can create income. And then we allow for them to have the opportunity in their retirement for them to have freedom of choice. And then once they pass on, they can then leave that income to their children because we do property management. We can help them manage it, that property during their retirement and then for their children so that it truly does create generational wealth. And that is what we're all about. However, I want to add one more layer to that. We have a saying, we help people improve their standard of living so that they can improve their standard of giving. It's not
Wow.
just enough for us to
Say
make,
that again. Say that again. I love that.
we help people improve their standard of giving, or excuse me, their standard of living so that they can improve their standard of giving. We
How
want,
many people on here, not to, and I apologize, I didn't say this in the green room with you that I do interrupt, but I want to make sure that people understand how many people on here. Okay, you guys know what number I'm going to give you. Put a five in the chat that you wish that you can do more benevolence. You could give more. You can be able to do what she's sharing with you, but either two things, you don't know how or you don't have the financial resources to do it. Like, I would love to give, but I just can't do it. I don't know how. I'm trying to make ends meet. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know the next steps. Am I talking to somebody today that has that same thought, like, oh gosh, I would love. All right. So Jana, you have a lot of people on here that are just truly inspired by what you're doing and sharing because there's a lot of people who are just like, yeah, I want to, but I don't know how. I don't have the capacity.
right. Well, that actually comes back to what my story that I want to tell today is about mindset
Mm.
and how I had a pivotal mindset change. And it was when I was a little girl. So, do you mind if I just launch into
Yeah,
what?
let's hear it. Let's bring it in. Let's hear the story.
Okay, well, I think you're going to see when I tell this story how this can plug back into what I just said about who I am, and you'll be able to see that foundation of how building on that goes all the way forward, right? And now it is in part of who I am today. All right. So when I was a little girl, when I was 9, my family moved to a little tiny town in Wyoming, which will remain nameless. And my family, my father was an educator like you. He actually was a professor of theology, and he also was a geologist. And in this capacity, he was working as a geologist when we lived in this little town in Wyoming. And it was a very small town. And I was the first little girl that had moved in forever and ever and ever. And I had left an area in Arizona where I absolutely loved it, had lots of friends. In fact, I didn't know anybody that wasn't a friend. I mean, it was my personality then and now. I would walk the neighborhoods and knock on the door and say, "Hi, I'm Jana. Will you be my friend?" That's kind of my mindset at this.
Door knocking at its simplest.
I didn't know any better. But we moved to this little town and I was not accepted. Not only was I not accepted, I was actually pretty severely bullied. And it was a night and day difference. And there was a girl that lived across the street who was my age, and she lived on a dairy farm. And I was allowed to come and help her with her chores with the promise that after I would help her with her chores, that she would play with me. And I was going to have a friend. Yay. Well, the problem is I didn't figure this out until later, but she would do that and then she would play with me for 15 minutes and then she would go play with her real friends, right?
Mm.
Well, she had a bunch of siblings, most of them brothers, and I was very young for my age, meaning I was already a year ahead in school, and she was on the other end of the age spectrum. So when you're nine, the difference between a nine an 11-year-old is pretty stark from an emotional standpoint. So I was pretty gullible, and those her brothers, there were two of her brothers, um, had this great idea. They were gonna challenge me to a task, and when I helped my friend with her chores, her dad was a huge fan of army surplus, and they had these big giant moon boots, which were absolutely too huge for any child, but you could tie they were big army surplus boots that they used that were watertight, and you could pull the laces around your calf, and then you'd clunk
Mm.
around. When you were clumping on the farm, the alfalfa would cut your legs, and so you didn't want to go anywhere without having your moon boots on, and it was like this big clump, 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 and I felt pretty invincible in those moon boots because nothing was going to get my little scrawny legs and knees because I was covered by these moon boots. Well, these boys, there's a section of the dairy where the farmer kept his manure. He would use a backhoe and he would push all the manure onto this large cement. Essentially, it's a trough with three sides, and it's still there today, by the way. I checked on Google
Jana,
Earth.
you want to know how crazy this is? I worked on a farm with exactly what you're talking about, manure, for like 10 years. I grew up on a farm in upstate New York. So I'm like, manure. I haven't heard that word in a while.
Okay, well, I'm gonna use the term shiitake, so we're gonna call it that. So here's this trough, and it's about a foot deep in manure with a crust on it. And the boys bet me $1 that I couldn't walk across this trough with my moon boots on. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be the easiest dollar I have ever made. I've got my moo moos, right? And I'm gonna get that dollar. So they had their dollar and they're waving in their hand, and I take my little clomp, 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 and I get to the middle of the trough, and as I do that, there's this sloshing sound, and it actually really didn't stink at the time because it was all crusted over except for where I stepped. Well, I thought to myself as I got towards the middle of this, I bet those boys are going to run away. I bet they're just going to disappear on me. So I turned over my shoulder to look back, And they were there and they were just laughing. Well, the problem is I paused and I didn't know at the time. And you, having worked in a farm, you will know the answer to this, Brock. But I learned about suction. So I was paused in the middle of this, and I was at equidistance, front and back, surrounded by manure on all sides. And all of a sudden, because I stopped, the force of suction grabbed hold of one of the boots. And as I stepped to go out of the boot, there I stood perched with one leg up above, hovering above, barefooted now because my boot had gotten sucked into that shiitake. And I'm standing one leg balancing, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to get out of this? Because I can't go forward and I can't go back. And I'm looking around, is there an adult anywhere? And now at this point, the boys are rolling on the grass, laughing their heads off because they knew what was going to happen. And so I am doing, like somebody put in the chat, karate kidding it, right? Thinking that. And I'm thinking, okay, there is only one way for me to do this. I'm going to have to walk out of it, but at least I have one boot on. So I take a step forward with my barefoot in the cold, sloshy, uh, yucky stuff. And now I realize I cannot move because guess what, folks? While I'm standing there on that one foot, unbeknownst to me, my boot, remember, that is really, really big for my little foot, because I paused and the level of where the shiitake was, it was just right at the top of my moon boot, and it had been filling my boot. And now my boot is too full for me to actually lift it up. And so I'm even now, even it's even worse because both of my feet are covered, but I can't move. And the only way that I can do it is to reach in and unlatch the laces. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to have to just do this. So I unlatched the lace and then I just sprinted, trying to float as high on it as I could go, ran over, ran around to where the boys were standing there now laughing, grabbed the dollar and ran home. And I know that the farmer, their dad, I don't know how many pairs of moon boots they found every year in the middle of their manure, but I know they found at least one. So here's the moral of the story, though. I want to um, harken this back to what we do in our real lives, right? Sometimes, and I would say more often than not, most of the time, we find ourselves in the middle of shiitake, and it's of our own making, right? We are the ones to blame for where we're at. And I think that that's really critical. So I learned a couple of really important points that I want to hopefully leave with your folks today. One is that we need to hold ourselves accountable for our own shiitake, right? No one held a gun to my head to make me do that. I thought that it was going to be easy money. So that's key there. Is there such a thing as easy money in real life? No, there is no such thing as easy money. You have to hold yourself accountable and you have to recognize that probably 80% is self-inflicted. It is a shiitake of our own making. The other thing that I learned is that I can do hard things. Another thing I learned is sometimes the only way through it is through it, and that sometimes no rescue is coming. Then The other thing is if you're going to go through it, then profit from it. I call it tuition. We can either learn from our own mistakes or we can pay others to teach us from the experience that they have learned. Either way is okay, but make sure you profit from it. For heaven's sakes, learn and be better. And then here's the really critical one. And I think, Brock, based on what I have learned about you, no matter how much gets on you, it isn't you
Mm,
and it washes off.
that was good.
And then the other thing that I want to say is that even though in this instance I was very um, bullied during that short period of time, it really gave me the ability to reach out to those who are on the edge. Those, I call them fringe dwellers, people who are literally just looking for someone to believe in them, someone to help them overcome their mindset, right? That they are the shiitake, not that it washes off, that they have intrinsic value in and of themselves, and that it can come, that it washes off. It is not who we are. So that was a really defining moment for me because I learned so many different things. And I went on the very next place my family moved, to have lots and lots and lots of friends, and to over time to be what I would say would be the world's version of success. Um, but at the end of the day, I feel like it was about learning that things that are done to me are not me,
Mm-hmm.
and that I can choose how I react, even in the moment. Because it really would have been easy for me to just cry and scream and just stand there
And wait.
and wait. So,
Can I ask you a question?
sure.
At what point of your life? It's so fun. Really, it's really, really ironic because I didn't have that moment, but I had a moment when I was on the farm and a situation happened to me. But I didn't realize the importance of it when I was 12 years old on where it resonated with me in my future. At what point in your life, I'm sure not that day, at least I would assume, and not to put words in your mouth, but like that day, all these amazing nuggets you just shared at the time period, you were probably just thinking, I need to go shower and change and clean myself off, and I got my dollar. But at what point in your life did you recognize that that moment was a defining moment for you? You think?
Um, it's a really good question, Brock. I think later on, I found myself in shiitake of my own making when I was in a situation where I recognized that I did it to myself and I have nobody to blame but myself.
Mm,
And the other, I really think this is going to sound, this was a critical juncture for me that goes along with this, and I think you can see the secondary message here. I was when I was 21, I was driving to go to a job interview, and I was in a hurry, and I was late. I getting out the door, and I was really really wanted this job, and I was driving across town, and as I got around the corner and up the bend, of course I hit every little old lady in every school bus. I know you all know how that is. Just got like road rage building, and I'm getting madder and madder and madder. And as I go down and around the corner to hit where I know I'm supposed to go, because I'd been there over in that general area before, so I knew where I was going. Unfortunately, the traffic came to a dead stop, and I was losing my mind. And as we inched along, I realized that we had happened on an accident that had just happened. And unfortunately, there was a motorcyclist who somebody had the presence of mind of putting a jacket over the person's head, but he was obviously deceased. And the debris of the machine and the ambulance hadn't gotten there. And as I'm rubbernecking, just inching along, trying to get out of this so that I can get to my destination. All of a sudden, like the lights had turned on for me. I was no longer furious. I was sad, and it was such a stark contrast to, like, what the heck just happened. My emotions flipped on a dime, and I was like, wow, that is crazy that my emotions could do that so quickly. The reality is that I'm still late. My circumstances had not changed at all. And as I pondered that, because it really struck me hard, and then so I went, I did the interview. I was late. I told them there was legitimately an accident, and they didn't hold it against me at all, and I got the job. But as I was thinking about that, I started really thinking about how my emotions they lied to me, essentially, in this instance. And that I was externalizing it. I was blaming everyone else
Mm.
for my emotions. And the reality is that it was my own emotions that I was creating that in my own mind, right? And I was not really holding myself accountable for all of that. And that I could potentially change that, right? I could look at the situation and I could actually remove the value for that, right? Meaning that I could basically tell my brain, when I find myself in a situation where I'm externalizing my accountability, I'm blaming others, that it does no good. There's absolutely no benefit to it. So the reality is, now when I'm in those kinds of situations, I look at it and I again harken back to that time when I was in the middle of my own shiitake, right? That I was able to control my emotions in that situation, get out of it, and profit from it. And now in this instance where I'm looking at how my emotions contribute to that, then I can look at it and go, okay, well, what else in my life can I manage or control? And there are a lot of things that we can't control. But the one and only one thing I can control is whether I sit in those emotions or not.
Amen to
Oftentimes
that.
those emotional responses are going to happen to me in the moment, and I have to allow them and I have to honor them, right? But once they've happened to me, I know I don't have to allow them to control me. And I've found that that is where true power lies.
When you're able to control yourself, it's so funny you said that. I said things don't happen to us, they happen for us.
Yes.
And when yourself and all of us are in moments, when we allow circumstances, we're the circumstances in our lives don't control us. It's our reaction to it.
Yep.
And there's 90 seconds that we have. They've done a study that you are going to be in that emotion. But then at that point, what happens when people say, I've had a bad day? You've allowed yourself to have a bad day. You are allowed. There are bad moments, but not bad days. You allow yourself to continuously repeat that moment, and it's like a hamster wheel that happens over and over and over again. And do you guys all see, like, when her and I talked for 10 minutes, I was like, we need to talk more. Like, I feel like we could keep on talking. And I just looked at the time. I was like, how did it become 8:46 so quickly? Central Time, 7:46. So fast here. Guys, I love all the comments in there. Did you guys get something out of today? Put a 5 in the chat if you got something out of today in some capacity, in some way. I mean, I got a full notes over here on what you shared, and my biggest takeaway was ownership. Now it is 8:47. I got about 1 minute. Could you give us, I always got to ask the question because you said so much. What would be the one thing that you would leave us with? Everything that you absorbed and everything, this amazing story and where you cultivated it, what would be the one thing that you would leave us with today?
The difference between victor and victimhood is you
Mm,
and that 90-second choice.
amen to that. God, that was good. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to talk to you more. Guys, is there anything that you have, Janet, that you want to share with us? Anything you're promoting, a pushing, a book to reach out to you? Anything at all besides we got your website on here, we got your Instagram, Facebook, anything you'd like to share with us?
Sure, we do a 25% referral fee for realtors from out of state who want to have clients invest in Nashville. So please, please reach out to me, get to know me, and let's do some deals together. If you just want to talk and connect, I'm happy to do that. I am really focused on building my businesses at the moment, but if you want to visit Nashville, come and see me.
We're going to come see you. We're really going to be coming to see you in January at the Success Summit, the Real Estate Success Summit. I got to share with you some more information about that to see how we can help each other grow in that capacity and get some opportunities there. So, guys, put some 5s in the chat, put some hearts in the chat, put some love in the chat as we do with our family here. Thank you so much for being on here, Janet. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing and opening up to us, especially everything that you got going on today. It's a Friday as well, balancing everything. God bless you. And thank you so much for being here today.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for being willing to listen.
Amen. Amen. Guys, I hope everybody has a safe and happy and healthy weekend. We'll be back Monday morning with our main man, Mr. Chad Free. Will be in the house. He'll be yaying us up at 8:15 Eastern Time, 7:15 in the Central, and of course, 5:15 in the West Coast. Till then, I appreciate you all. God bless you. Have a great weekend. See ya.